Shalom Israel. We are getting ready for the appointed times, the Moedims, my father's feast. He tells us to spend 3 days, 3 nights with the lamb without blemish before the Passover arrives. So today, we're going to spend some time getting ready for the Passover. We're going to read Exodus chapter 12. May the congregation bless the reading of our Messiah's word. Exodus chapter 12, and it reads, And Yah spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. So as we look at our Father's word in chapter 12 of Exodus, we can see that same thinking in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Messiah, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the Messiah is Yah. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 23. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as the Messiah is the head of the assembly, and he is the Savior of the body. So as we look at these verses in the first 3 verses of Exodus chapter 12, we see that every man is going to keep this commandment that the Father has given. That's what Moses and Aaron is telling all of them. You are getting commandment from the Father, and as the head of your household, you keep this commandment. Continuing, verse number 4. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. So here we're going to look at verse number 5. And again, just so we can get a greater understanding on our Father's word, we can see 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 18. And our brother says in 1 Peter 1:18, For as much as ye know that ye were not redeemed with corruptible things as the silver and gold, and from your vain conversation received by tradition from your fathers. Verse 19, but with the precious blood of the Messiah, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. We're going to look at another verse. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 26 and 27. And it reads, that ye might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that ye might present it to himself as a glorious assembly, not having spot or wrinkle or such thing, but that it should be set apart and without blemish. See, as we look here in this word, in Exodus chapter 12, verse 5, they grabbed them a sheep without blemish in order for them to put that blood on the doorpost. But right now, our Messiah is that Lamb without blemish. He is the one that is the head of your household. See, we are supposed to be getting remarried to the Messiah, coming to the bedroom chamber without wrinkle, spot, or blemish, to be like him. But as we read this in chapter 12, we will see how we will become like him. We will see how keeping these commandments transform us. We will see that we're supposed to do this forever. But it all starts with us getting a good grasp on our Father's appointed time, the Passover. And we will continue to read in Exodus chapter 12. And we're at verse 6. And it reads, "And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening." Verse number 7. "And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the house wherein they shall eat it." So at this point, they're taking that lamb without blemish, and they're taking the blood of that lamb, and they're striking it on their doorposts, top, bottom, side to side. Every place where they plan on eating that lamb, the blood of the Messiah is there in all essence to keep them safe. Continue to read verse 8. Exodus chapter 12. And it reads, "And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with his purtenance thereof." Verse number 10. "And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire." Verse number 11. "Thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is Yah's Passover." See, there's confusion still in the house of Israel. Those that are Hebrews according to the flesh, there are confusion in this world. To the Gentiles that have taken our word and teach it in error, he tells you in verse 11, this is Yah's Passover. We read in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 2, and he tells you, "Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of Yah, ye shall proclaim to be a set apart convocation. Even these are my feasts." All the feasts, all the Moedims, they belong to our Creator. They do not belong to Israel. They do not belong to the Hebrews. They don't belong to those Ashkenazis, those fake ones that are called the synagogue of Satan. They belong to our Abba. And we are supposed to do these feasts. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7 and 8. And it reads, "Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even the Messiah, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice or wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth." See, there's two things that we're talking about there. See, in the first, he tells us in one of the parts that we roast a whole lamb in the fire, its head all the way down to his legs. See, some of us go to a store, buy some lamb, and feel like we got a lamb without blemish. Don't keep all the ordinance thereof. See, we got to understand that the Most High, He is now that lamb without blemish. The reading of this word, the understanding of this word, and the beginning of your wisdom, fearing the Most High, is how you keep the Passover. It's not because you go to Safeway, Save Mart, and get yourself a lamb. It's that the Most High is dwelling in you richly, that His word is now written in your heart. That is now what your Passover should be. And don't keep it with the same malice and wickedness, with the same leaven. Don't keep bringing in sin after sin each day on the Passover and days of unleavened bread and not change. Don't be you need to be converted by this word. See, if you bring in the same sin day after day after day, there's no conversion of you, and you're keeping the Passover the same way they always did, in wickedness. Continuing in Exodus chapter 12, verse number 12, and it reads, "For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and I will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And against all the Elohim of Egypt, I will execute judgment. I am Yah." And again, as we look at verse number 12, again, this is something that goes wrong in the house of Jacob, in the house of Israel. In this very day, he ends this verse with "I am Yah," which in the Hebrew tongue will go Ani for the I, Hayah for the am, A-N-I, H-A-Y-A-H, which means in first person, I am. When other people have Yah, which point to He is, you'll get some Hebrews to say that you can only say Ahayah, which they chop off the N and the I, they combine the A and the H. Can you even do that, brothers and sisters? Now, you can refer to our Father in first person or in second person the same way you do every day of your life. You can speak to Him as the I am, because He is the one that did these things. But I can't speak of these things and put it in the context of I put Ani Hayah, like I did it. Again, it's just a name game. But getting a good understanding in verse 12. Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. And it reads, "I am Yah, thy Elohim, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." Exodus 13, 14. And it reads, "And it shall be when thy son asketh thee in the time to come, saying, What is this? That thou shalt say unto him, By strength of the hand of Yah brought up us out of Egypt. from the house of bondage. Micah 6:4. And it reads, for I brought thee up out of the land of Egypt and redeemed thee out of the house of servants, and sent before thee Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. See, the Most High even sent a woman to help redeem the house of Israel. But more important than that, the reason why we read those verses is to get a good understanding that Egypt, according to your father's word, is the house of bondage. It's the house of servants. So where you live at right now, you are a servant. If you live in Brazil, if you live in America, if you're a Hebrew Israelite that live in Israel, the homeland, they tell you you can't even become a citizen there, even after birth in the land. See, we are scattered to the four winds, the four continents of this earth, and we are still in what they call Egypt, Mizraim. In the Hebrew tongue, you would call it, and it means the house of bondage. So again, if you are a Hebrew Israelite, that you are forced to come to a land and you have no other land to call home, that means you can't run back to Mexico to get away from the judgment here in America. You can't run back to Cuba to get away from the judgment that happened in America. You can't run back to Morocco to get away from the judgment in America. See, the true Hebrew Israelites have no land to run back to. We are in the house of bondage. And that is where our Most High executed his judgment from. I am did that. So now that you understand that the house of bondage, what it means, we're continuing to read Exodus chapter 12, verse 13. And it reads, and the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. So when he smite the land of bondage that has kept you, if you have that covenant relationship with you, nothing will destroy you. So it was in the past, so it will be again, but we will touch on this further. Verse number 14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yah throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. Hallelujah. So we're going to break down up to 14. Again, just so we can get understanding in our Father's word. And here we see 2 or 3 things that we want to touch on and break down. First, we're going to look at Matthew chapter 1, verse 17. And it reads, so all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. And from David unto the carrying away unto Babylon are 14 generations. And from the carrying away to Babylon unto the Messiah are 14 generations. That is only 42 generations. That when we read in Genesis up to Matthew, 42, brothers and sisters. That's it. Again, hear what I just said. It's only 42 generations from Abraham until our Messiah. Now let's get a better perspective, because he tells us to keep this throughout our generations and forever. So let's understand what that really means. Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 9. Know therefore that Yah the Elohim is. He is Elohim, the faithful El, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. Continuing. Psalms 105 verse 8. He hath redeemed his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations. 2 Peter verse 3, reading verse 8, and it reads, But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with Yah as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So if you're not ignorant, you will understand that if our brother Adam lived 900 years and it still wasn't one day to the Messiah, and our bus could barely live 70 years as it is, us faithful ones get a little bit more in there, all be to the glory of the Most High. That means you haven't even lived 10% of a day according to the Messiah. You haven't even lived long enough for him to walk out and take out trash, for him to use a bathroom, for him to utter more commandments out of his mouth. That's how the fraction of the time your whole life is. But he commanded you to do this for 1,000 generations. Why would you let someone beguile you and thinking you don't have to keep the commandments? Why? Because you in America? They kept the commandments because you are with Yah and he placed his name within you. Don't you know he surnamed you Israel? He surnamed you so you can be a light unto the world. If you won't keep your commandments in the land of your captivity to show how great he is, how will the Gentiles, how will the Hamites even know? Because we'll give all glory and all praise to our Elohim and the Lamb that he has scattered us, keeping his commandments forever, because it's commanded to 1,000 generations. The second thing I want us to look at, Israel, is 1 Peter 1:25. But the word of Yah endureth forever. And this is the word which by the gospel is preached unto you. Hebrews 13 verse 8. Yasha, the Messiah, the same yesterday and today and forever. Revelations chapter 2 verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful until death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Again, as we're looking at this, we keep this commandment, which is the Most High feast day, as an ordinance forever throughout our generations. Understanding from Abraham to our master, our Messiah, was only 42 generations. That means you got over 950 more generations to go, and you only living up to 70 at a time, a fraction of the day. You keep this ordinance. Be faithful until death, Israel. This is a memorial, better than Memorial Day. Keep this forever, no matter where he has scattered thee. Continue what I read. Exodus chapter 12, verse 15. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. Verse number 16. And in the first day there shall be a set apart convocation. And in the seventh day there shall be a set apart convocation. To you no manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. Verse number 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this self same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore ye shall observe this day in your generation by your ordinance forever. See, the killing of that lamb without blemish, that has passed. But the keeping of this day, the keeping of this commandment remains forever. Understanding the lamb without blemish is now our Messiah. And to understand what Shaul, who they call Peter, says, keep the feast of unleavened bread without malice. See, we read that in the New Testament. You know how they divide our Father's word up into sections. But if you have understanding, O house of Israel, he tells you that our Father is one. There is no division in his word. He's the same today and forever. The same yesterday. And no manner of work should be done on that first day or the seventh day. I tell you, O house of Israel, instead of planning on vacation time to go to Disney World or Disneyland, plan on vacation time to go see some heathens' parks. Spend the time with the Most High. Plan your feast days accordingly. Plan to keep a Sabbath in the middle of the week. Isn't you giving your life up a reasonable service for the Most High? Isn't taking a vacation day reasonable to the Most High? Planning on spending this time, the 3 days and 3 nights, getting prepared for this that we're having, a holy convocation. And we eat unleavened bread every day during this time. Get all the yeast products and leaven out of your house. Lose some weight, Israel. Have yourself a non-bread diet. Continuing. Verse number 18. In the first month of the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread until 1 and the 20th day of the month at evening. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. See, right here we look at this word. A stranger at this time could be the seed of Ham, Mizraim. They could have came out of that land with us. Or a Gomerite who traded and sanctioned and lived in Egypt, but not in the bondage that we were kept under. Could have came out of that land with us. But the native born, who is the house of Israel, as if you look at the words and you find out what he says, and from the Apocrypha or until right now, He tells you that even though Abraham and his seed had many sons, even Ishmael, they are all considered Gentiles. But there's only one seed that's considered the house of Israel, and that is the ones born in the land. Verse number 20. Ye shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread. Verse 21. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. Right now, if you understand that the Most High is the head of your household and you're teaching this to your loved ones, your wife, and your children, you are telling the rest of Israel and any stranger that wants to sojourn with you, that wants to keep a righteous commandment. We are now looking for a Hamashiach. We are now talking about that lamb without blemish, because if you search the scriptures, all of them reveal him to you. And that is who we are asking to dwell in us now. Verse 22, Exodus chapter 12, and it reads, and ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike it lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of this house until the morning. For Yah will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts. Yah will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your house to smite you. And ye shall observe these things for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. So again, when we look at this, while we are in the land of our captivity, you are teaching your loved ones that the Most High is supposed to be dwelling in you as you're in the house of bondage. Because he tells you in Deuteronomy 28, there's a blessing for you to keep these commandments. There's a blessing for you to teach your children dietary law. There's a blessing for you to tell them to keep the Sabbath day. See, the ones that want to keep you in captivity, as we call them, the Egyptians, the police corners waiting on the corner for you every time you break the Sabbath, waiting to put you in jail, waiting to lock you up. Those in the storehouses ready to feed you swine and all sorts of types of poison to put inside your temple. See, if you have the Most High dwelling in you, he will pass over you and not have the destroyer suffer killing you with all the things we go through right now. And we keep this to our sons and our daughters forever. Verse number 25. And it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land which Yah will give you according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is a sacrifice of Yah's Passover, who passed over the house of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed the head and worshipped. Last verse, verse 28, Exodus chapter 12. And the children of Israel went away and did as Yah had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. So if we look at Joel chapter 2, as well as Isaiah chapter 11. Our prophets tell you that what happened to the house of Israel is just small in what he's going to do when he comes back the second time. That how he split one sea one time, he'll split 7 seas to get us out. How during the time of his visitation, when that dark, gloomy day is happening to every creature that's on this planet, that nothing will hurt the children of Israel because they'll be sealed. Nothing will hurt those that want to keep these commandments and the spirit thereof. We stopped at verse 28, and I urge you to keep getting ready for this Passover with me. We will conclude the reading of the rest of this chapter on the next day as we spend time with our Elohim and reminding all the house of Israel that Yah takes up the house of bondage with a mighty hand and is coming back to get his remnant, that small portion of Israel that exists today, that elect, the ones that he has chosen to come back home to New Zion. Hallelujah. Until tomorrow, Israel.